Evangeline's heart pounded like the bass from a distant spring break party, but she didn't flinch. At 32, she'd learned long ago that flinching only invited more venom. She tightened her hold on Miriam, feeling the familiar curve of her fiancé's waist under her palm, a quiet anchor in the brewing storm. Miriam, with her auburn curls frizzing in the salty Florida air, turned her freckled face toward Karen, her green eyes narrowing not in anger, but in that soft, unyielding compassion that always made Evangeline fall a little harder. "Evening, Karen," Miriam said, her voice steady as the intracoastal waterway at low tide. "Beautiful night for stargazing, isn't it? Care to join us?" Karen's face twisted, her perfectly manicured nails digging into the hem of her Lily Pulitzer skirt. She was the queen bee of Magnolia Lane, a cul-de-sac of pastel bungalows where everyone knew your business before you did. Divorced twice, mother to a sullen teen named Tyler who spent more time glued to Fortnite than family dinners, Karen ruled with a mix of HOA bylaws and passive-aggressive next-door posts. But tonight, something had snapped. Maybe it was the rainbow flag Evangeline and Miriam had hung from their mailbox last Pride Month, or the way their laughter echoed louder than the neighbor's leaf blower. Whatever it was, Karen had marched over the property line like she owned the deed to their souls. "This isn't a joke," Karen spat, jabbing a finger toward their intertwined hands. "I saw you two kissing in the driveway this morning. In broad daylight. What kind of example is that for the children? Tyler's impressionable, you know." Evangeline bit back a retort, tasting the irony like overripe mango. They'd moved to West Palm 2 years ago, chasing the dream of a fresh start after Evangeline's grueling divorce from her high school sweetheart, a man who'd never quite fit the puzzle of her heart. Miriam, a marine biologist with the NOAA, had been the serendipity, a chance meeting at a sea turtle rescue volunteer event, where Evangeline's clumsy net handling had earned her a teasing smile and a shared thermos of sweet tea. Now, in their cozy craftsman cottage with its wild bougainvillea and wind chimes that sang like wind spirits, they'd built a life that felt like home. Simple joys, weekend kayaks through the mangroves, Miriam's homemade key lime pie cooling on the sill, Evangeline's sketches of sunsets pinned to the fridge. But Karen was the thorn in that idol. It started small, anonymous complaints about their unkempt garden, which was just native wildflowers buzzing with bees, then escalated to whispers at the block's annual luau potluck. "Those girls," she'd hissed to the other wives, her voice dripping with that faux-concerned southern drawl that masked pure bigotry. Evangeline had brushed it off at first. After all, Florida was a patchwork of progress and prejudice, where drag brunches thrived next door to "no soliciting," includes politics as signs. But tonight, with the sky bruising purple and the air thick as grief, it felt personal. Invasive. Miriam shifted, her hand finding Evangeline's knee in a subtle squeeze. "Karen, we've never bothered you. We've waved hello 100 times. Brought you fresh oranges from our tree last summer. If this is about the flag, it's coming down tomorrow. But our love, that's not negotiable." Karen's laugh was a bark, sharp as palmetto fronds. "Love? Honey, that's not love. That's confusion. Sin, even. My pastor says." "Enough." Evangeline stood now, her 5'4" frame unfolding with the quiet authority of someone who'd stared down boardroom sharks in her graphic design career. Her dark waves tumbled loose from their ponytail, framing a face that held the warm glow of her Cuban-Italian heritage, high cheekbones, full lips curved in a smile that could disarm or devastate. "Your pastor doesn't pay our mortgage. And if you think harassing us makes you righteous, you're sadder than I thought. Go home, Karen. Before you say something you'll regret." The standoff hung there, electric as a summer squall. Karen's chest heaved, her blue eyes, usually cool as a March ocean, flashing with something raw. Hurt. Fear. For a split second, Evangeline glimpsed it, the loneliness etched in the lines around her mouth, the way her hands trembled not just from rage. Then it vanished, swallowed by the armor of indignation. Karen wheeled on her heel, her espadrilles crunching the shell-path gravel as she retreated to her McMansion 2 doors down, its floodlights snapping on like accusatory spotlights. Miriam exhaled, pulling Evangeline back to the swing. "You okay, mi amor?" Evangeline nodded, but the shatter of that beer bottle lingered in her ears, a fragile omen. "Yeah. Just tired of hiding who we are. We're not hurting anyone." They sat in silence as fireflies blinked to life, the Gulf breeze carrying hints of jasmine and distant rain. Miriam traced lazy circles on Evangeline's thigh, her touch a balm. "Remember our first date? You spilled paella all over my lap at that Cuban spot in Clementi Street. Called it saucy foreplay." Evangeline chuckled, the sound rusty but real. "And you laughed so hard you snorted sangria. Best mess ever." That was them, messy, real, unbreakable. Miriam, orphaned young and raised by a string of indifferent aunts in rural Georgia, had armored her heart with science, dissecting coral reefs to avoid dissecting feelings. Evangeline, daughter of a fiery Miami chef and a stoic Brooklyn engineer, had always sketched her way through chaos, turning pain into portraits. Together, they were a mosaic, Evangeline's bold strokes meeting Miriam's precise lines. But as the stars pricked the velvet sky, Evangeline couldn't shake Karen's words. Not the hate, they'd weathered worse in Bible Belt college towns, but the undercurrent. What if this neighborhood, this supposed slice of American paradise, chewed them up? What if their love, so fiercely fought for, wasn't enough? Little did they know, the real storm was just gathering force. The next morning dawned sticky and gold, the kind of Florida sun that promised paradise but delivered sweat. Evangeline nursed her coffee on the porch, sketching idly, Karen's silhouette against the dawn, all sharp angles and shadowed eyes. Miriam was already at the lab, radio tagging loggerheads off Juno Beach, her texts buzzing in like lifelines, "Miss you already. Don't let the Karens win. Red Heart Turtle." Evangeline smiled, but her phone lit up with a group chat from the neighborhood moms, uninvited, of course. "Evie, sweetie, just a heads up, Karen's on a tear at the PTA meeting. Saying your influence is bad for the kids. Might want to tone it down." It was from Lisa, the yoga instructor next door, her emoji a weak peace offering, woman in lotus position. Tone it down. As if love had a volume knob. Evangeline's grip tightened on her pencil, snapping the lead. She'd toned it down her whole life, closeted in high school, dates in dimly lit bars, even her wedding to Marco, a desperate bid for normalcy that lasted 5 miserable years. No more. This was their home, damn it. By afternoon, the whispers had metastasized. Tyler Hargrove, Karen's 15-year-old spawn, avoided eye contact when Evangeline waved from her driveway, his skateboard clutched like a shield. Then came the HOA notice, slipped under their door like a scarlet letter, violation, unauthorized display of personal symbolism. Remove immediately or face fines. The flag. Of course. Evangeline tore it down herself, the fabric whispering against her fingers like a defeated sigh. She folded it neatly, stowing it in the hall closet beside Miriam's wetsuit and their shared dream board, photos of Big Sur hikes, of married in Malibu, sticky note. But folding away the flag felt like folding away a piece of herself. That evening, as Miriam scrubbed salt from her skin in the shower, Evangeline paced the kitchen, linoleum cool under her bare feet. "It's escalating, Mari. What if they push us out? I can't lose this, us, again." Miriam emerged, towel-turbaned, her body a roadmap of freckles Evangeline knew by heart. She pulled her close, water droplets tracing paths down her collarbone. "Then we fight. Smart, not loud. We've got allies, Lisa, old Mr. Patel down the street. And each other. That's karma's secret weapon." Evangeline leaned into her, inhaling the clean scent of eucalyptus soap. "Promise me we'll be okay. Promise." Miriam's lips brushed her temple, soft as sea foam. We're the tide, Evie. We rise. But tides turn, and secrets have a way of surfacing like driftwood after a hurricane. Weeks blurred into a humid haze, Magnolia Lane simmering under the relentless August sun. Karen's campaign was surgical, a petition circulated for family values zoning, couched in legalese that masked its target. Next-door threads bloomed like palmetto bugs after rain, concerned about neighborhood aesthetics, with Karen's avatar, a smiling headshot from her real estate days, liking every veiled jab. Evangeline and Miriam kept their heads high, hosting a low-key barbecue for supporters. Lisa brought quinoa salad, Mr. Patel his legendary samosas, and a handful of queer families from the city drove down with coolers of craft IPAs. It was a defiant evening, laughter cutting through the tension like a knife through key lime. Evangeline manned the grill, flipping veggie burgers with flair, while Miriam spun stories of neon parrotfish and bioluminescent bays, her hands gesturing like underwater currents. For a moment, it felt like victory, their yard alive with fairy lights strung through the oaks, a makeshift pride flag, subtle, striped in sunset hues, fluttering from the shed. Then Tyler Hargrove appeared at the fence, gangly limbs akimbo, his hoodie zipped despite the heat. Hey. Miss Evangeline. Can I talk to you? Evangeline wiped her hands on her apron, exchanging a glance with Miriam. The kid looked haunted, shadows under his eyes deeper than the Everglades at midnight. Sure, Tyler. What's up? He glanced over his shoulder, toward Karen's lit windows. Mom's freaking out about you guys. Says you're gonna corrupt the block. But I don't think that's right. His voice cracked, a boy's confession wrapped in adolescent armor. I have a friend online. He's like you. Gay, I mean. And he's the coolest dude ever. Plays Valorant like a god. Evangeline's throat tightened. She knelt to his level, her sketchpad forgotten on the picnic table. Your mom's scared, Tyler. Of things she doesn't understand. But you're brave for seeing past that. He shrugged, scuffing his sneaker. She found my sketchbook. The one with drawings of guys. Burned it in the fire pit. Said it was a phase. His eyes glistened, not quite tears. Is it? Miriam joined them, her presence a steady hum. Phases pass, Tyler. But who you are. That's forever. And it's beautiful. He nodded, a ghost of a smile breaking through. Thanks. Don't tell her I came over. Then he was gone, vanishing into the hibiscus hedge like a feral cat. The barbecue wrapped with hugs and promises of solidarity, but the encounter lingered, a crack in Karen's facade. Evangeline couldn't sleep that night, the ceiling fan whirring like accusatory whispers. Beside her, Miriam dreamed fitfully, murmuring about riptides and lost buoys. In the quiet hours, Evangeline slipped out to the porch, her phone glowing with a text from an unknown number. Evangeline? It's Lisa. Karen's digging into your past. Divorce records, that sort of thing. Be careful. She's hurt, but that makes her dangerous. Hurt. The word echoed Tyler's sketchbook pyre. What wounds drove Karen to this crusade? Curiosity gnawed, but self-preservation won. They doubled down. Evangeline volunteered at the local youth center, leading art workshops for LGBTQ+ teens, her portraits capturing their tentative joys. Miriam organized beach cleanups, her passion for the ocean a beacon. Together, they attended city council meetings, voices steady as they advocated for inclusive ordinances. But betrayal brews in the shallows. It came on a Tuesday, unannounced as a pop-up squall. Evangeline was at her home office, tweaking a logo for a queer-owned cafe in Lake Worth, when her phone erupted, voicemails, texts, a flood. Saw the article. You okay? From her ex, Marco. What the hell, Evie? From her sister in Tampa. The Palm Beach Post headline screamed from her screen, local graphic designer accused of immoral conduct in neighborhood dispute. Below it, a grainy photo of her and Miriam at the barbecue, cropped to look illicit. Quotes from anonymous sources twisted her divorce into scandal, abandonment, emotional abuse, words she'd buried like storm debris. And there, buried in the byline details, a name, sourced from public records, but the tone reeked of Karen's fingerprints. Worse, a sidebar on Miriam. Fiancé's activism raises eyebrows. It painted her Noah work as radical environmentalism, implying eco-terrorism ties that didn't exist. Lies, layered like conch shells. Evangeline's vision blurred, hot tears splashing her keyboard. She called Miriam, who was mid-dive survey. Babe. It's bad. Really bad. Miriam surfaced hours later, salt-crusted and storm-eyed, pulling Evangeline into a hug that smelled of brine and betrayal. We'll sue. Libel, defamation. No. Evangeline's voice broke. It's her. Karen. She must have hired someone, or sweet-talked a clerk. God, Mari, what if this tanks my clients? Your grants. Miriam's jaw set, that Georgia steel shining through. Then we rebuild. Like after the 18 hurricane. Boarded up, but came back stronger. But the damage rippled. Clients ghosted. Miriam's boss called, a sensitive time, suggesting she lie low. The neighborhood turned Arctic, waves became nods, potlucks skipped their names. Even Lisa distanced, her texts curt, sorry, swamped. Isolation clawed in, a mangrove root twisting tight. Nights blurred into arguments, whispers at 2 a.m., Evangeline pacing, Miriam retreating to the couch with her field notes. You're pulling away, Evangeline accused one dawn, the sky bleeding pink. I'm protecting us, Miriam shot back, her voice frayed. By fighting, not fleeing. But doubt festered. Was their love the spark, or the casualty? The high tide of hell crashed that Friday, under a full moon bloated as regret. Karen's annual block party, ostensibly a hurricane prep drill, really a victory lap, thrummed with tiki torches and country crooners. Evangeline and Miriam weren't invited, but fate, or masochism, drew them to the edge, peeking through the oleander. There was Karen, regaling the crowd with tales of standing up for decency, her arms slung around a newcomer, a woman in her 40s, sleek bob and power suit, laughing at all the right pauses. Evangeline's stomach dropped. She knew that face, from Marco's wedding album, a distant cousin. No, Lisa. No. The woman turned, and Evangeline's world tilted. It was Sophia, her old college roommate. The one who'd outed her to the sorority after a drunken confession, sparking the chain that led to Marco's proposal, a panic-fueled cage. Sophia. Here. Arm in arm with Karen. Betrayal hit like a rogue wave. But whose? Sophia's presence screamed setup. Had Karen unearthed more dirt, weaponized old ghosts? Miriam gripped her hand. Evie, let's go. But Evangeline stepped forward, into the torchlight. Karen. Head swiveled. The ukulele faltered. Karen's smile froze, then thawed into faux delight. Evangeline. Didn't see you there. Join the fun. Sophia's eyes widened, recognition dawning like a guilty dawn. Evie. Oh my God. Save it. Evangeline's voice carried, clear as a conch call. You two make quite the pair. Digging up graves for sport. Murmurs rippled. Tyler hovered at the punch bowl, his face pale. Karen's mask slipped, just a fraction, vulnerability flickering like a shorted bulb. This is about community, Evangeline. Protecting what's right. Right? Miriam surged beside her, fierce as a squall. You leaked our lives to the paper. Hired Sophia to twist knives from my fiancé's past. That's not protection, that's poison. Sophia shifted, uncomfortable. Karen just asked for help. Old favors. The crowd parted, a hush falling. Mr. Patel cleared his throat. Enough, Karen. This vendetta, it's ugly. Karen's chin lifted, defiant. But her eyes darted to Tyler, who stared at his shoes. You don't understand. I lost everything once. My sister, she was like you. Fell into that world. Drugs, parties. Died alone in some dive bar. I won't let that happen here. The confession hung, raw as an exposed nerve. Evangeline's anger fractured, revealing the woman beneath, a grieving sentinel, lashing out at phantoms. Miriam softened first. Karen. I'm so sorry. About your sister. But we're not her story. We're ours. Karen's shoulders sagged, the torchlight carving canyons in her face. I thought. If I stopped it. Tyler stepped forward, voice small but steel. Mom. Stop. They're good people. And. Me too. I'm gay, okay. Your son. Not your project. The world held its breath. Karen whirled, face crumpling. Tyler. He held up a hand. I love you, Mom. But this? It's killing us all. In that suspended moment, karma uncoiled, not vengeful, but revealing. Karen reached for her son, tentative, as sobs racked her frame. The party dissolved into awkward drifts, neighbors murmuring support, Lisa handing out tissues. Evangeline and Miriam slipped away, the moon their witness. On their porch, wrapped in a shared blanket, Evangeline whispered, "Did that just happen?" Miriam nodded, tears silver tracks. Yeah. And we're still standing. The aftermath was a slow unraveling, threads of Magnolia Lane rewoven in the quiet aftermath of that moonlit implosion. Karen vanished indoors for days, her curtains drawn like eyelids heavy with remorse. Tyler shuttled between houses, awkward family therapy sessions brokered by a counselor from the youth center, where Evangeline volunteered. Sophia slunk back to whatever corporate lair she'd crawled from, her parting text to Evangeline a terse sorry. Old habits. But apologies, like seashells, couldn't undo the scatter. Evangeline and Miriam navigated the wreckage with the grace of gulls riding thermals. They hired a lawyer, a no-nonsense firebrand from Wilton Manors with rainbow suspenders and a Rolodex of precedents. The Post issued a retraction, buried on page B7 but better than nothing. Clients trickled back, drawn by the buzz of resilience. One even commissioned a series of murals for a queer youth shelter, Evangeline's brushstrokes fierce with reclaimed fire. Miriam's grants held, buoyed by a petition from her NOAA colleagues. Dr. Reyes is an asset, not a liability. They celebrated small, a sunset cruise on their kayaks, Evangeline's laughter echoing as dolphins arced alongside, Miriam's hand steady in hers. Intimacy returned in layers, lazy Sundays tangled in sheets that smelled of salt and citrus, whispered vows renewed under the ceiling fan's benediction. Yet the scar tissue itched. Doubts lingered like humidity, fostering quiet fissures. One evening, as rain lashed the windows like vindictive fingers, Evangeline found Miriam at the kitchen table, poring over job listings in California, Monterey, with its kelp forests and progressive pulse. What's this? Evangeline's voice was light, but her heart thudded like conga drums. Miriam looked up, guilt shadowing her freckles. Just options. In case. After the article, I thought maybe a change. A change. The word cracked like lightning. From us. From here. We fought for this life, Mari. Promised we'd rise. Miriam's eyes welled. I know. But what if staying poisons us? Your sketches, they're darker now. Mine too. I love you, Evie. So much it scares me. What if I can't protect you? Evangeline knelt, cupping her face, thumbs tracing the map of her beloved. You already do. Every day. We're not fragile coral, we're the reef. Bent, but not broken. They cried then, a deluge that washed the doubt downstream. Miriam deleted the tabs, and they made love, not with urgency, but with the slow reverence of survivors, bodies a testament to endurance. Dawn brought clarity, a pact to nurture their roots, tend the wildflowers, invite the world in on their terms. Karen's olive branch came unexpectedly, a week later. A knock at dusk, hesitant as a heron's step. She stood on the porch, sans armor, jeans faded, hair tousled, a foil pan of lasagna clutched like contrition. I baked. It's gluten-free. Tyler helped. Evangeline hesitated, then opened the door wider. Miriam hovered in the hall, wary but willing. Karen shifted, eyes downcast. I owe you an apology. A real one. Not the mealy-mouthed kind. She met their gazes, raw. My sister, Clara, she wasn't just like you. She was gay. Proud, fierce. Fell for a woman in a mill town up north. But the town. They shunned her. Lost her job, her family turned away. The drinking started then. Overdose at 28. I was 20, thought I could save her. Failed. So I built walls. High ones. Hurt you to keep the pain out. The story spilled like a breached levee, Clara's hidden letters, yellowed photos of two women dancing in a speakeasy glow. Karen's voice trembled, not with defense, but devastation. Seeing you too. It was like seeing her again. Alive. I hated it. Feared you dragged Tyler down the same path. But he's stronger than me. And you. You're what she deserved. Miriam reached out, tentative, squeezing Karen's arm. Grief's a thief, Karen. Steals our sight. But it's not too late to see. Evangeline nodded, throat tight. Tyler's welcome here anytime. Art supplies, bad movies. Whatever he needs. Karen's laugh was watery, relieved. He'd like that. And the petition. I shredded it. Told the HOA to shove their fines. They shared the lasagna on the porch swing, awkward forks clinking, stories bridging the chasm. Karen spoke of her own buried dreams, a painter once, before real estate swallowed her soul. Evangeline pulled out her sketchpad, capturing Karen's profile in quick strokes, vulnerable, alive. Here, she said, tearing the page free. Your turn to see yourself. Tears traced Karen's cheeks, but she smiled, real this time. Thank you. Karma's twist wasn't thunderous justice, but this, amending. Tyler bloomed, coming out to his soccer team with a rainbow armband, Karen in the stands cheering loudest. The block party that fall was theirs. Evangeline's murals splashed across fences, Miriam's eco-talks under string lights, Karen manning the grill with surprising flair. Winter softened into spring, the jacarandas painting streets lavender. Evangeline and Miriam stood on Juno Beach at dawn, toes in the surf, a simple band of abalone shell exchanged in lieu of rings. For now, they whispered, when the world's ready. The ocean roared approval, waves kissing the shore. In the end, it wasn't about winning or losing, but weaving. Love, in all its forms, fierce, fractured, forgiving, the true American tapestry. And in West Palm's endless summer, they thrived, roots deep as mangroves, branches reaching for whatever storm came next.